Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show. Quickly, our next topic. The late MKO Abiola struggles to validate his freely given mandate, which led to his eventual death in the custody of the military, is usually spoken about as a building block for Nigeria's latest experiment with constitutional democracy. During the last general election, the Labour Party made exponential gains in public approval. In between those good times and the fast approaching electoral cycle, however, the party has been engulfed in a series of internal disquiet. Against that backdrop, what are the chances of success, starting from the forthcoming Edo State governorship election? Dr. Tanko is a Labour Party chieftain who served as spokesman for the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, during last year's general election. He joins me now for a conversation. Thank you for joining us on This Day Live, Dr. Tanko. Hello, Dr. Tanko.
Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Ruben. Thank you so much.
Well,
good afternoon, good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you. Let's kick off the conversation first by having your take on 25 years of democracy and the celebration of Democracy Day, and of course also 1 year of Tinubu's administration as an entry point into this conversation.
Thank you. As a way of greetings to everyone, I know today is Sunday, which is a sacred day for our brothers and sisters in the Christendom, so happy Sunday. At the same time, today is Father's Day. So for all of our wonderful fathers, including Dr. Ruben and everybody using you as a point of contact, I say happy Father's Day to everyone. And then today, of course, also is a Salah Day for all the Muslims in the world. So also, Barakah de Salah to everybody. Referring to the issue of a 25 days on a broken democracy in Nigeria, it sounds good. It's a happy feeling, but it comes with a lot of its challenges. And some of these challenges come with our personal interests, greed, lack of interest for the people, lack of love and empathy. And then probably what will be the crescendo of the discussions will be the issue of a collective responsibility for the collective interest and entity called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, I say this with a lot of patriotism. While a lot of people who worked very hard to ensure that we had democracy in Nigeria, who believe seriously in it, some people use it as a point in which to enrich themselves and neglecting the interests of the people, forgetting that actually democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So the reason why anybody is in position of power, be you a councillor or a local government chairman or a governor or a legislator or the president, is actually to serve the people. But when you are interested in serving yourself and your cronies and all, it's no longer democracy. So for those who have fought for this democracy, well, I pray their souls will continue to fight for democracy. While you make your intro, we're referring to MKO Abiola. On June 12, we were at his tomb, and then it reminded me of the collective struggle and those who have stood for the struggle. Probably the spirit of MKO Abiola has now started rising up and challenging those who have destroyed that particular collective dream. Now that, of course, has embedded the interests of the Nigerian youth, who strongly believe that it is time to challenge for the soul of this country. And I am so happy with that, because by the time they collectively look at the differences between Northwest and South and East, they will find out that the interest is about good governance, and their demand is for good governance. And no wonder why their messages resonated with His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi. So for us, it's about the soul of the country and good governance. The only thing that I can say that has been very, very germane in this pastoral struggle is the simple fact that Nigeria have a voice. Every Nigerian can speak. If you meet people in the market square, they speak about what is good or bad in the system. If you meet the technocrat, they will say the same thing. Academicians, they will say the same thing. Students, and probably those who are in the downtrodden also will speak to that. So this, for me, is kind of a summary of what I feel that is happening within the democracy. Nigerian leaders should stop being greedy, but concentrate on the interests of the Nigerian people.
Well, Dr. Tanko, your party was part of this process in the last general elections, and it remains one of the more active political parties on the scene. But your own party, too, has its own major issues. I mean, Labour Party was so popular, there was an offshoot called the Obedience. But Labour Party is factionalized. You have Lamidi Akpakpa and Arabambi, Abayomi Arabambi, and I think one Mr. Akingbade fighting the party. You have Oluchi Okpara, national treasurer of the party, alleging that Julius Abure, chairman of the party, will need to come and explain what he did with 3.5 billion naira. The NLC has had to say Labour Party cannot just stand on its own like that, that the NLC, the Nigeria Labour Congress, established that party, and that the NLC must have a say in what the NLC does. In spite of that, Julius Abure was re-elected in April as chairman of the party. There are other issues within the party, even between the NLC and Mr. Peter Obi, and even between Mr. Peter Obi and Lamidi Akpakpa and Arabambi. So your party gave so many young Nigerians hope. Now the same party is divided.
Okay, now let me choreograph some of these questions. It's very, very clear that we cannot exonerate anybody. People can make their own mistakes and then try to allude to the fact that probably they are doing the right thing. The truth be said is that the Labour Party have been able to exhume some of the challenges therein and make it a public issue. And when you make this particular issue a public issue, it's very easy for you to identify where the problem lies, and then you'll be able to find solution to it. Unlike other political parties who keep theirs in secrecy and continue to manipulate and wander in the wilderness, trying to say that they are getting the people in the right direction. But in the case of the Labour Party, it came to the open. Let me start by the issue of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Truth be said, the Nigerian Labour Congress is a creator of the Nigerian Labour Party. There's no doubt about it. And so, if they are creator, of course they are interested in what happened within the party. I make bold to say that the Labour Party and the Labour Congress were part of the executive of the Labour Party. I've been with the Labour Party for years. Let's say about 25 to 30 years. I was with Dan Nwanyang and I was with A.A. Salam. They are my bosom friend. When I was chairman of the National Conscience Party, we discussed together. In fact, that particular the party office was our secretariat for the collective struggle for all leftist political parties. And that, of course, has resonated with what you saw happening in the Labour Party at the moment now. And to go further, as regard to the issue of the former treasurer coming out with accusations against the Labour Party chairman, it is in our right to do so. But what I will not agree to is that when somebody was saying that probably it's been Ibonized, or into when she spoke, that was when His Excellency Peter Obi came out to make a statement as regard to the party. Look, it's not about Nigeria and Igbo. It's not about Yoruba. It's not about Hausa. It's about you demanding for the right thing. And then, right immediately when she made this particular statement, His Excellency called for an external auditing, and he appointed one. But you see, it's very important for us to clear these issues also. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party is a member of the party. And of course, he is a leader. He has a right to make a call. But the call can be made within the party, and it's expected that the party itself will carry out that particular call. So he has pushed what is supposed to be done to the table of the Labour Party chairman for them to clean themselves up of allegations, financial allegations. On his own part, he has been able to make it publicly. This is exactly what I have. And some people are saying that they gave money to Peter Obi. In fact, it's the reverse the case. He even gave money to the party for them to even use for the collective struggle of at least mobilizing and all of that. That he has done. So when they hear issues of this nature, I wonder. And then there's this accusation of probably tribal and bigotry. I have never seen a gentleman that has shown so much of clarity as regard to his direction. Maybe many people may not know. His Excellency started this particular struggle with virtually 3 persons. they are from different ethnic groups. Dr. Doyin Okupe is from the southwest, and Honorable Oseleka Obaze is from the southeast, and then Mrs. Dudu Manuga is from the northeast. So virtually all the three major speaking countries, major speaking tribes in Nigeria were represented. And then even if you go back in history, you remember that the ADC to Peter Gregory Obi, His Excellency, was a Hausa man from Kano State. Kano State, his commissioner in that particular time when he was a governor, is from Kano State. So you see, there had never been an interest of tribal sentiment or religious sentiment in his mind. All he focuses is the idea of Nigeria, and its people. So that is very, very clear. Yes, please.
Dr. Tanko,
yes.
The confusion in the Labour Party is so much.
I can hear you.
The confusion is so much that your party has two national publicity secretaries. There is Obiora Ilo, who issues statements as national publicity secretary. There is also Arabambi Abayomi, who has recently, as first week of June, granted interviews and issued a statement that Mr. Peter Obi, who has been seen visiting Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, will not be allowed by the party to go and join forces with Atiku Abubakar. So who speaks for the party? Who actually is the custodian of the certificate establishing the party as a legal entity?
Good question. Now, that will be the exact question that the Labour Party chairman has to answer. Because when we met in Asaba, there were issues that were raised from the sacking and probably, suspension of the youth leader. The youth leader later on was suspended because of some issues within the party structure. Later on, Mr. Arambabe came up with his own issues, which he alluded to the fact that it was because of issue of bigotry and tribal sentiment within the campaign council, which I have also told you, that the campaign council was built of ethnic nationalities and different groups from all parts of the country. I can tell you even for sure, you may not even know that the director of finance, who is the custodian of the finances of that particular campaign, is from Kano State. His name is Dr. Atiku, a renowned academician, and he is the director of the finance. So anybody that is alluding to that fact is just trying to create a name for himself anyway, but not for His Excellency. Then two, the issue of Mr. Arabambi came up when he was suspended, and then a new publicity secretary was appointed in Asaba. And that Asaba publicity secretary, who is Mr. Obiora, has been the one speaking. So probably you are listening to Mr. Arabambi, who was suspended. And here, that is where the journalists have to do a lot of investigative journalism. And I think probably the journalists that gave room and listened to all of this. You have to make a concerted effort of asking the party who truly is your publicity secretary. And once the party has announced that this is our publicity secretary, I don't think people should give any room for any other person to speak in that particular regard. That would have taken care of the issue, because they are the ones that can pronounce who represents them, not the other way around. Somebody can just come and tell you, I am so person without confirmation, and you give him a space to speak. So you must confirm from the party before you give such particular persons an ear to speak. So as far as the party is concerned, it is the party that should be asked to tell you who is their publicity secretary and how that particular person emerged, and probably INEC is aware of such a person, and that would have killed the matter, because we've run political parties. We don't allow anybody to just speak at any time because he still have access to the mic.
Well, I don't think that journalists can be blamed in this matter. Journalists look for stories from all angles, and we try to balance the story. We have no partisan interest. However, you mentioned Dr. Doyin Okupe as one of the original members of the party. He was even Director General of the presidential campaign. Now, the same Dr. Doyin Okupe now says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the best candidate in that election. Now, Mr. Peter Obi enjoyed the support of Professor Wole Soyinka. Professor Wole Soyinka has had cause to say, look, the Obedience have construed themselves into a menace. And the same obedience went after him and abused him thoroughly, saying all kinds of things about Professor Soyinka. President Olusegun Obasanjo was supportive of Mr. Peter Obi in terms of the statements that he made in that general election. The same President Obasanjo has been shown at a conference in Bahamas, Afrexim Bank event in Bahamas, wearing the Tinubu renewed hope cap. I can go on and on and on. So how did the party lose the support of these, original supporters of its leadership? You want to blame the obedience?
Well, like I said earlier on, it's not about blaming the journalists, but I'm only asking that the journalists should do an investigative journalism and ask the right source so that then they will not have ambiguity and multiple representation. That will help to clear a lot of air. And to regard to the issue of His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, you can wear anybody's cap, but your body language speaks differently. I'm wearing a Hausa cap today. Tomorrow I may wear a Yoruba cap. That doesn't make me a Yoruba man, or that doesn't make me an Igbo man. I wear this particular clothes to just show my identity as a Nigerian. So if His Excellency decides to wear the cap, probably he has another reason. And I'm sure, His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo does not hide his word. He will speak out directly, and he doesn't care who oxes God. And with regard to the issue that you raised with Dr. Doyin Okupe, don't forget that Dr. Doyin Okupe, he is a revered leader in this country within his own respect. So as far as we are concerned, if he had decided to change and move into another direction, of course, he has liberty to do that. But just like as you are saying, why you think probably we lost him, we have gained a lot of people. And I'm not going to mention them. A lot of people have gravitated towards us. Unbelievably so. So I will leave that as that and give his respect to Dr. Doyin Okupe because he's somebody that I respected so much. And then I don't believe that probably some of the things that he's doing or saying is targeted towards making Nigerians doubt his integrity as a person. If that should be the case, I'm sure he will have to make a reverse on that particular position. Now, with regard to Professor Wole Soyinka, let me make this critically clear. The obedient movement are all interested majorly on good governance, and nothing short of that. Anybody that is against making sure that Nigerians enjoy good governance, the obedient movement will challenge him or her, including His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi. So it is not about an individual. It's about the collective interest of ensuring that we had good governance in this country. And I think they should be applauded.
Dr.
We
Tanko,
will never support anybody to abuse anybody.
Dr. Tanko,
yes, please.
Are you suggesting that Professor Wole Soyinka is against good governance? Is that what you are insinuating?
Well, I am not insinuating. I am saying some of the demands that were being made by our leaders. I'm sure, Dr. Ruben, you know my history. You know where I stand. You know where I come from. You know what I've been doing over the years. I was the field marshal. I was the field marshal of Save Nigeria Group, led by Pastor Tunde Bakare. I led that particular struggle in Nigeria. And at that particular point in time, the person that was at the receiving end was President Goodluck Jonathan. I was the one carrying the microphone. Check the record and see those who are behind us. The people who are behind me at that time was Professor Wole Soyinka, were Tunde Bakare. Quite a number of Nigerians were behind me. I was the one that chanted, move. If I say move, they come from behind me. That particular time, look at the indices of the standard of living that Nigerians were. We were buying bag of rice at nothing less than 3,000, maybe 2,000 or 7,000 naira as the case may be. And they were part of the Save Nigeria Group who led that particular battle at the Ganifa Square. Today, Dr. Ruben, we are buying a bag of rice at about 70 to 80,000 naira. Fuel is untouchable. As we are speaking to you, we are running on generator. Many people cannot eat 3 square meal in their houses. Children cannot go to school because of payment of school fees. Many people are insecure in their homes and all. Now, in all due honesty, nobody has raised any demonstration at the moment now or any form of oppression, except some of us who are still believe in that particular. So this is a body speaking language. So I am not saying that that particular professor is in support of good governance or against it. His actions will show, and the action of even myself, if I go against the interests of a good governance to Nigeria, believe me, Nigerians who we believe are obedient in almost in every home will challenge it.
Okay,
so
Dr.
it
Tanko,
is high time we cannot differentiate what good governance is about.
Dr. Tanko, finally, we have to go.
Yes.
We have just about a minute. And I would like to pose this question to you. What do you think are the chances of your party in the forthcoming Edo State election and even in Ondo State? Do you think that the APC will win or that your party stands any chance? Briefly.
It is left for the people to decide. Ours is just for us to promote and advocate for votes to ensure that the right person is voted for. When the people decide otherwise, of course, they will see the otherwise. At the moment now, majority of them decided to vote it otherwise, and they are seeing the otherwise. And so I think probably it's the time now for them to rethink and rejig in their mind.
Is that a comment on the performance of the Tinubu administration?
Of course it is, because it's very clear. Because if the government has been doing well within 1 year, and the narrative that people are chanting now is so appalling and unacceptable to me. 1 year is not enough for us to assess. 1 year is not enough but it's 1 year is enough for you to quickly assess. Look, we have a president in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our head of state, who performed only 6 months, and up to today is somebody that we revere. 6 months, not even 1 year. So anybody that is telling you with this humongous problem in this country, but the problem that they are more interested in is building a coastal road around Lagos, Calabar, what we cannot even move from Kaduna to Abuja, we cannot move from Benin to Abuja, and yet we are thinking about spending this humongous sum of money for the interest of who? So good governance is very clear. If you do it, people will see it, and the people will start chatting. Look, Nigeria is the most easiest place to lead if you do it in the right way.
Dr. Tanko, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us on this Live Day Sunday Talk Show.